My sister's laugh cut through the room like glass. Everyone, meet Lena, my perpetually single little sister. She draped her arm over my shoulders, squeezing just hard enough to hurt. Still living that bachelor girl life, aren't you? 200 guests smiled at me with pity in their eyes. None of them knew that every white rose in Tessa's bouquet, every gold-rimmed plate on every table, every breath of air conditioning keeping them comfortable, it all ran on my signature. The grand ballroom at Belmont Hall sparkled under lights I'd personally approved last Tuesday. Tessa's engagement party was everything she dreamed of: French champagne, a live quartet, centerpieces that cost more than most people's monthly rent. She'd been planning it for weeks, calling me daily with updates I already knew. "Can you believe how perfect this venue is?" she gushed. "Marcus's parents pulled strings to get us in here. It's impossible to book." I'd said nothing. Now, she pulled me toward a circle of her college friends, women in cocktail dresses who looked at me like I was a project. "You remember Lena, right? She's in, what do you call it again?" "Property management," I said quietly. "Right. She collects rent checks." Tessa's voice was bright, cheerful, patronizing. "It's very practical work, very blue-collar. We can't all be corporate lawyers, right?" She turned to her friends. "I keep telling her she should go back to school, get a real career started, but Lena's always been a late bloomer." A late bloomer? At 29, Marcus, her fiancé, appeared with champagne flutes. He was nice enough, a cardiothoracic surgeon with kind eyes and no idea his future sister-in-law signed his venue contract. "Your sister was just telling us about your work," one of Tessa's friends said to me. Her tone was gentle, sympathetic. "Property management must be steady." "Very steady," I confirmed. "And dating?" another asked. "Anyone special?" Tessa answered before I could. "Lena's too independent for relationships. Aren't you, Lee?" She stage whispered. She had a bad breakup a few years ago. Still gun-shy. My chest tightened. The breakup had been real. Devastating, actually. But it was 5 years ago, and Tessa brought it up like it was yesterday, like I was still broken. "Some people just need more time," my mother said, appearing at my elbow. She meant it kindly, but it landed like a stone. My phone vibrated. A text from David, my venue director. "Cake delivery cleared. Timeline on schedule. You wanted to handle the 8 p.m. transition, or will you?" I glanced across the room. David stood near the service entrance in his tuxedo, clipboard in hand, managing the flow of staff with military precision. Our eyes met. He raised an eyebrow. I typed back, "I'll handle it. Be ready at 8:15. Another text came through, this one from my accountant. Q4 revenue reports finalized. Belmont Hall up 34% from last year. "Congratulations, boss." I pocketed my phone and excused myself from the circle. No one noticed me leave. I drifted through the party, invisible among the guests. I watched servers carry trays of hors d'oeuvres I'd taste-tested 3 times. I saw couples taking photos in front of the flower wall I'd commissioned from a local artist. I heard someone compliment the acoustics, the result of 6 months of renovation and $200,000 in soundproofing. My venue, my investment, my risk. And my sister had no idea. Growing up, I was always Tessa's shadow. The afterthought. And Lena, too, tacked onto every introduction. She was the daughter who made honor roll. I was the one who tried her best. She was the daughter who got into Yale. I was the one who went to community college because we couldn't afford 2 tuitions. She was the daughter they talked about at dinner parties. I was the one who cleared the plates. I'd stopped fighting it by 16. Instead, I watched. I learned. While Tessa collected accolades, I collected different knowledge, practical knowledge. I got my real estate license at 20, started showing apartments on weekends while working full-time at a property management firm. I was good at it, better than good. I understood what people needed, what they pay for, what made a space valuable. At 22, I bought my first property, a foreclosed duplex in a neighborhood everyone said was up and coming. Translation, dangerous. My father told me I was being reckless. Tessa said I was playing house. I lived in one unit and rented the other. Fixed the plumbing myself. Learned electrical work from YouTube. Painted every room twice. 2 years later, I sold it for double what I paid and bought 2 more properties. Then 4. Then a small apartment building. By 26, I had a portfolio worth 7 figures. By 20, I bought Belmont Hall, a historic building that had been a hotel, then a restaurant, then abandoned for 3 years. Everyone said I was insane. The building was a money pit. The neighborhood was declining. I'd lose everything. I spent 18 months restoring it, hired the right architects, the right contractors, preserved the historic details while modernizing everything that mattered. I turned it into the most sought-after event venue in the city, and I kept it quiet, operated through an LLC, let my management team handle the public face. Because I'd learned something valuable, being underestimated was an advantage. When Tessa got engaged 2 months ago, she complained about finding a venue. "Everywhere good is booked," she said at Sunday brunch. Marcus's parents are trying to call in favors, but even Belmont Hall said no. I'd made one call to David. "Open the calendar. Family booking." "You sure about this?" he'd asked. I'd thought about it for exactly 3 seconds. Yes. Now I stood in the back of the ballroom, watching Tessa pose for photos with Marcus. She looked happy, genuinely, radiantly happy. I didn't want to ruin that, but I was done being invisible. I found David near the bar. "We're ready." He handed me a small remote. "Presentations loaded. Of Team Standing B. Your guest arrives at 8:20. I looked at the remote in my hand. 1 button. That's all it would take. "Miss Harrington?" A server approached. The couple's requested the first dance in 10 minutes. "Miss Harrington." My mother's maiden name, the one I used for business to keep separation from my family name. "Perfect," I said. "Let's start the evening program now." The music faded. David stepped to the microphone as the lights dimmed slightly, focusing attention on the small stage. "Good evening, ladies and gentlemen." David's voice was smooth, professional. "Before we continue with tonight's celebration, the owner of Belmont Hall would like to share a few words about this historic venue." I saw Tessa's face brighten. She probably thought some society maven was about to congratulate her. David continued, "Belmont Hall has been the centerpiece of our community for over a century. 3 years ago, it was purchased and restored by a local investor who saw potential where others saw ruin." He gestured to the screens behind him. Photos appeared, the building as I'd found it. Broken windows, collapsed ceiling, weeds growing through the floor. The restoration took 18 months and represents one woman's vision to preserve history while creating something new. More photos. Me in a hard hat, pointing at blueprints. Me on a ladder, installing chandeliers. Me at the ribbon cutting I'd held privately, with just my small team. Tessa's smile vanished. She turned, scanning the crowd, looking for me. "That woman is here tonight," David said. "Please welcome the owner of Belmont Hall, Lena Chun." The room erupted in polite applause. I stepped out of the shadows and walked to the stage. Every step felt like flying. Tessa's face cycled through confusion, disbelief, then something harder. Anger, maybe. Or betrayal. "Thank you, David," I said, taking the microphone. I looked out at the 200 faces. At my parents, frozen in their seats. At Marcus, who looked genuinely impressed. At Tessa, who looked like her world was tilting. "I won't take much of your time," I said. "I just wanted to say that I'm honored to host my sister's engagement party here. This building means a lot to me. I've put my heart into it. And seeing it bring joy to people, especially family, makes every challenge worth it." I clicked the remote. The final slide appeared, the LLC registration. My name. My signature. The purchase documents. "Congratulations, Tessa and Marcus. Enjoy your evening." I stepped off the stage. Tessa intercepted me before I reached the bar. "What the hell was that?" Her voice was low, sharp. "That was the truth. You own this place." She shook her head. "How? When? Why didn't you?" "Tell you." I kept my voice even. "I tried. You didn't hear me. You said you did property management." "I do. I manage properties. This one, and 6 others downtown, including the building where your law firm leases space." Her mouth opened, closed. "All those times you introduced me as someone figuring life out." I continued. "I was building a business. All those times you told people I collect rent checks." "I do. From my own properties. Worth about $12 million. 12. She couldn't finish the sentence. The entrance doors opened. Heads turned again. Ethan walked in, 6'2" in a charcoal suit, his software engineer's confidence evident in every step. He'd flown in from Seattle for this. For me. He crossed the room and kissed me. Not a peck. A real kiss. The kind that tells everyone in the room exactly where they stand. Sorry I'm late, he said, loud enough for nearby guests to hear. Flight got delayed. He shook Marcus's hand. Congratulations, man. Your fiancé's sister is incredible. Ethan. My mother's voice was faint. You too are. Engaged, I said, lifting my left hand. The diamond caught the light. 3 months now. We've been long distance while he finished his project in Seattle, but he's moving back next month. Tessa stared at the ring. At Ethan. At me. We're actually looking at venues for next spring, Ethan added, though I think Lena might have a bias toward this one. Tessa stood there, her perfect party crumbling around her. Not ruined, just revealed. The power dynamics shifting like tectonic plates. My parents approached, their faces showing emotions I couldn't quite read. Pride. Confusion. Regret. Lena, sweetheart. My father started. Why didn't you tell us? I did. I said simply. Every Sunday dinner, every holiday, every time you asked what I was doing with my life. You just never heard the answer you were listening for. I could have said more. Could have listed every dismissal, every assumption, every time I felt erased. But I didn't need to. They could feel the weight of it now. I turned to Tessa. The venue's paid for through midnight. David will make sure everything runs perfectly. It's your night. Enjoy it. She blinked rapidly. Lena! But I was already walking away, Ethan's hand warm in mine, leaving behind the sound of whispers and recalculations. At the door, I paused and looked back one last time at the ballroom. My ballroom, my vision, my proof. For the first time, I wasn't anyone's other daughter. I was just mine,